What is the best loophole that you've ever found? Little community center arcade where I used to live as a kid had an air hockey table in the back room. Somebody figured out that if you jimmy the coin slot in just the right way, you could get an extra 3-4 games out of one quarter until the thing was fully pressed in and you'd have to put in a new one. None of us had much money, so this was a lifesaver. The employees didn't really care because what money we did have was typically spent at the snack bar, so they made money off us anyway. I kind of miss that place. They always had fresh watermelon for free for kids who had absolutely no money so nobody would feel left out. Upvoted for good sentiments. Local radio station had a contest where you call in when they play same artist back to back to win a prize. Turns out they had a now playing and up next feature on their website. My girlfriend at the time would start calling in before the second song even came on. Won tons of prizes ranging from concert tickets to a laptop. Plot twist. The radio station totally knew about this and they were trying to drive more traffic to their website so they would get more ad revenue. My college campus had a cafe with deli and salad bar. The deli sandwiches were way overpriced, like $8 for a standard turkey sandwich. But the salad bar was very reasonable, subsidized to promote healthy eating. So I found that the salad bar had all the same ingredients as the sandwiches. The meat was just shredded. The deli would sell slices of bread for $0.25 each, so I would just buy the bread, load up and weigh my salad and grab some free mayo and mustard packets, then build my own sandwiches for under $2. Used that trick for my last 2 years. Back in the 90s, Dr. Pepper ran a promotion where you could win stuff from the bottle caps, including a free Dr. Pepper. You just paid for the new soda with the winning bottle cap. I learned that you could look up the bottle and barely read what was written on the inside of the cap. I bought one Dr. Pepper and continued to win maybe 30 or so more Dr. Peppers. As a teen, an unlimited supply of soda was amazing. Joke's on you, now you have type 2 diabetes. Very old place of work decided to have a Christmas party and provide everyone with a few vouchers each for free drinks. They'd arrange with the venue that employees would hand over one tag for any drink of any size and would settle up in the days after the event. The problem was that these vouchers were simply tags that you'd put into a filing cabinet sleeve and write on with a colored sticky dot on them. They distributed the tickets half an hour before we closed for the party. Guess what was stocked in the stationery cabinet? Filing tags and sticky dots. They had no idea how the bar bill was nearly £10,000. My brother once yelled last one to jump in the pool is gay, and then jumped into the pool. However, I figured out that if I did not jump in then technically he would be the last one in the pool, and he is still gay to this day. Boom, roasted. Not very impressive, but at my high school we had to wear a button down and a tie to class every day. One of the kids realized that they never specified what kind of button down it had to be, so he wore a Hawaiian shirt to class with a tie. Technically it met the dress code so it stuck. Pretty soon most of the school started wearing Hawaiian shirts with ties to class. We looked like a bunch of ridiculous Jimmy Buffett Goes Mormon types, but it was worth it to spite the system. They changed the rule to ban Hawaiian shirts a week later. I still use the loophole of jumping on a shuttle bus out of LAX to a parking garage or hotel. Yes. And then calling an Uber Lyft from there to avoid the airport prices. Brings the ride home down to $10 from $40. I do this in NYC. I take the air train to the free stop at the parking lot and call an Uber there. Half the price, double the happiness. My former workplace would tell us every Monday that we had to work overtime Saturday, then often cancel overtime at the last minute. That way they didn't have to give us the minimum 24 hours notice of mandatory overtime and they could take as long as they wanted to decide if they needed us. They also got to play it off like they were doing us a favor by giving us our weekend back. It was a dong move, but it was certainly effective. Had an employer who would subtract break hours from your pay, regardless of how many hours you worked, or if you even took a break. So if you worked 40 HRS/5 shifts, you'd get a paycheck for 35 hours. Worked 44 HRS/5 shifts, get a paycheck for 39 hours. I found the loophole was to work 39 hours because they wouldn't subtract the 5 hours from you until you hit 40. They used to have a promotion at Wendy's. probably 6 or 7 years ago, where if you filled a survey out on your receipt you could get free burger. I guess they didn't notice that you could take the survey on the receipt of the free burger and just keep getting free ones. So we would just go after school and chain 5 free burgers after we just bought one. We did that for a few days until they finally caught on and stopped accepting it. My dad figured out a good one back in the 80s. Just like they do now. Back then cable companies would give you a free weekend trial of a premium channel, HBO, Cinemax, etc. in an effort to get more people to sign up for those channels and pay more. However, our cable company's method of giving you access to the special channel was to send a signal to your cable box which unlocked the channel. To turn off the channel at the end of the free trial, another signal was sent. My dad figured out that the signal to lock it was only sent for a short period of time. So before the end of the free weekend, he would unplug the cable box and then plug it back up the next day. Since the box never got the signal, we would have a free premium channel for a while. Usually after a month or two it would get shut off, so we'd have to wait for the next free trial weekend. I didn't find this loophole, but my friend did. A few years back, an online store had this promotion where whoever spent the most money over a month would get free round-trip airplane tickets to anywhere in the world. My friend, who's a freaking genius, found out one thing you could buy on the site was a gift certificate. So he bought a $25 gift certificate and kept spending it on another $25 gift certificate. So he ended up spending $25 on round-trip tickets to Australia. I did this on threadless.com like 14 years ago or so. I don't remember the specifics, but you got bonus credit for purchases, which worked with gift cards. I exploited it to get enough credits to get a bunch of shirts for free. Not as exciting as plane tickets, but I still felt like a mastermind. In 3rd grade, our teacher had to leave the room for some kind of emergency and left one of the students in charge, the teacher's pet, of course. The teacher said that we were not allowed to talk, and if we did, we would have to write 100 times "I will not talk in class when instructed not to," or something like that. Well, my friend and I were bored, so we started writing out the punishment, and when we were finished, proceeded to talk to each other until the teacher returned. The student left in charge wasn't sure what to do. It was hilarious. Are the rich person's take on fines that they aren't deterrents, merely entry fees? Back in the day, 2 5-piece chicken nuggets at Burger King cost less than a single 8-piece chicken nuggets. Me and those 2 extra nuggets were laughing all the way to the piggy bank. Almost the same thing in the Netherlands right now. 6 nuggets equals €2. 9 nuggets equals €3.95. 20 equals €7.95. Basically €0.05 will give you 3 extra nuggets if you buy 2 times the 6 box compared to the 9. Or 4 extra if you buy 4x6 instead of 20. Why anyone would ever buy the 9 or 20 beats me. Back in the 1960s, the school district in my hometown was broken up and absorbed into the surrounding districts. Fast forward to 2003, I'm applying to colleges. I discovered that there is a scholarship fund for people living in that old district's area. The district is gone, but the scholarship still exists. I applied and got the scholarship. I don't think there were any other applicants. A lot of scholarships never get awarded or only have 1 or 2 applicants. Always good to search out as many as possible. My university was trying to encourage people to walk, so if we download a specific health tracker that's connected to our account, it would convert steps into points. The points would get you stuff like free coffee, mugs, discounts for stuff, and the most expensive prize, a university hoodie which costs about £30. Now, the health tracking app is pretty basic. It won't let you log your steps manually, however it does let you connect with other health apps. I found a health app that would let me add in the steps, and I logged in an equivalent of 50 kilometers a day, and in a few days of logging manually, I would get myself a hoodie or 2 and I didn't get caught. However, I told my friend about it, and he really perfected the method of getting more steps a day, because apparently there was a hidden physical limit to how far a person can walk in a day. But he managed to trick it by setting his height to be 1 centimeter, and because the shorter you are, the more steps you need to take to cover the same distance. In the end he claimed about 10 plus hoodies and he would just get them for anyone who asks. The uni found it suspicious, so he received an email telling that the activity had to stop unless he could provide evidence that he walked that much. Another friend had a different method. You get points just by being friends with them on the University Health website. He also found that he could access a list of everyone who had an account in that website, so he made a Python script that would automatically send a request to everyone, earning him points. Laughing so hard about the 1 centimeter marathonist giving away uni hoodies. I used to get the train from Liverpool to Manchester every day. The fares were extortionate, £15 a day. Instead, I'd get a 30-day return on Monday in Liverpool, £20. Then on the way home I'd get another 30-day return in Manchester, £20. As long as the return tickets never got stamped, I'd reuse them, so I always had a valid ticket to travel. It helped that I was always on the first train, and the guard could not be bothered to check tickets, and on the way home I was on the rush hour train and they couldn't get up the train to check. It saved me thousands. This was before the barriers at most train stations now though, so probably a lot harder to do. I will always upvote a public transport swindle. Frick the trains in the UK. Italian restaurant my family loves had a candy claw machine we played every time we went. But the trick to learn was, if the claw closed all the way it thought that meant you didn't get anything, and would let you play till you did get something. This means we would go for individual items that would fit into the claw perfectly, one sucker, one Laffy Taffy, so it would close all the way, instead of trying to get a big lot all at once. That way it wouldn't register the candy and we could keep going and going. We actually took so long once our parents made us leave before our turn was up and we still left with handfuls of candy. The best part? IT only cost a quarter. They no longer have that machine. We discovered one in a pizza place where if you held the joystick up and right as it was opening for some reason it would give you 99 more tries. Some bug in the programming. We nearly had that thing empty by the time we left. I purchased a wireless keyboard at least 8 years ago, maybe 10. It's awesome, except I broke one of the keys about 2 years later, so I contacted the manufacturer to see about just buying a replacement control key because it's awesome and I thought just the key would be cheap. But they said it's still under warranty and they sent me a replacement. About 2 or 3 years later, a similar thing happens and I'm all set to throw down $$ for a replacement, but the replacement keyboard's warranty time started when they sent me that one, so I wound up with the replacements for my replacement. This just kept going on. I'm currently on my 3rd or 4th replacement keyboard. I've lost count. Over the years, the design of the keyboard has improved so much. The current one is not at all identical to the original K800 I purchased, but it's still a fantastic keyboard. If they would ever give me an opportunity to buy a replacement, I would. Sounds like their Loophole is an excellent customer loyalty guarantee. Went to a Catholic school with uniforms. We got jeans day passes to wear. They were always different colors, including white. I took one white pass, took it to a copier, copied enough to fit one page, printed one full page of passes, then printed mass stacks of pages. I made a lot of money selling them out. Took a survey course in college, which basically amounted to a course the school was planning to offer in the future, but giving the professor an opportunity to fine-tune the curriculum before officially offering it as a class. Easy enough course, got my credit, went home happy. Next semester the course went live and was offered under a different course number, but the description was identical. Signed up, never attended a class, took the final and got my credit again. When I was in high school I applied for a summer job with the county. As part of the unbiased application process, each applicant was asked to take an intelligence test. The test consisted of about 80 questions. Each question was 4 or 5 line drawings, and you had to put an X in the box next to the one that didn't belong. Pretty easy. I happened to notice, though, that the test paper was 2-part, which is 2 sheets of paper that are attached together back to back with a sheet of carbon paper in between. I could peel the sheets apart and look inside. The second sheet just had a bunch of boxes printed on it, and I could see from the first few questions that I'd answered that the X's I'd marked ended up in the printed boxes on the second sheet thanks to the carbon paper. So, I did all of the questions with obvious answers, and if I was unsure, I just peeled the paper apart, noted where the box was printed on the second sheet, and made sure I got it right. Of course, I got 100%. I figure that if you can cheat on an intelligence test, you're pretty smart. I'd like to think that you passed the real test. My friend made a spreadsheet of all the restaurants in town that gave you free stuff for your birthday, and mapped out the shortest route to take you to all of them. Lie about your birthday for different apps for Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, etc. and spread the free crap throughout the year so you don't have to hit up a million places in one day. My high school had a stupid rule that banned you from attending prom if you went to a Saturday detention that semester. I got in trouble and was assigned to Sat. D Hall. But my girlfriend really wanted to go to prom. I just kept skipping it and they kept adding more until they rolled it into a day of actual suspension. They had no rule barring you from prom for an out of school suspension, so I got a day off and took my girl to prom. What an odd rule to have. For a while McDonald's had a promo where, when you walked in, you could scan a QR code and possibly get free food. However, different locations and different cutouts had different codes. I took pics of as many unique codes I could find, put them all on a handy PDF, and scanned them all using an Android device and an iOS device before lunch. I got free extra value meals regularly. In fact, I still had a couple free ones left over when they stopped the promotion. You may be responsible for killing that promotion. Old job had a loophole about time. It worked as such. If you were scheduled for 8 AM shift, you had 7 minutes to arrive and be on time. If you arrived past the 7 minutes, you were considered 15 minutes late. Loophole. It worked the same for clocking out. If you stayed and helped for an extra 7 minutes and clocked out, you got an extra 15 minutes of pay. During my tenure there, I would always ask if people needed extra help and make sure I stayed past the 7 minutes. This went on for a full year. Got probably close to an extra 24 hours of pay. Our local Tesco accidentally had 2 offers for Terry's chocolate orange at once. So if you bought 4, or a multiple of 4, they gave you 50p. Tried not to abuse it since if they noticed they change it, but bought 4 chocolate oranges with other stuff through the self-checkout every day for almost 2 weeks before they corrected it. I planned to save them for Christmas presents, but Christmas was 4 months away, and you know how delicious Terry's chocolate oranges are. I swear sometimes life gives you heaven just to take it away. When Presto Card first came out in Toronto, the swipe card that gets you onto public transit, the card I got was faulty from the moment I bought it. I'd loaded it with cash, but 9 times out of 10 it wouldn't scan. The transit operators would see me curse and swear at it and let me through the gates anyway. Then I'd pick up a transfer which passed as my proof of payment. I must have done that a good 30 times over the course of 2 months. Saved myself $100 or so on transit. Didn't want to push my luck too much, so eventually replaced the card with a working one. Should have got a working one but kept the dud to use occasionally. I was working maintenance at McDonald's when they did a Best Buy Bucks promotion. Large sodas and large fries had a scratch off that was worth at least $1 at Best Buy. I would go through the trash daily, pulling out all the discarded scratch offs. I got a free computer that year for Christmas. I also had the poor cashier at Best Buy in tears. She had to manually scan each scratch off and verify the dollar amount. Not me, but I read about a guy that bought coins from the Canadian Mint with his credit card, deposited them in his bank. They have value and ended up doing this multiple times, which turned to millions of their miles. There was a drink machine in college that was $75 for a juice. If you put $1 in, it gave you 5 quarters and change. I got a juice every day for months before they finally fixed it. There was a parking ticket machine at a casino near me that, if you put $50 notes in, it would spit your note back out, pay for your parking and give you change. Only worked twice for me, but it was the best machine to play in the whole facility. I had a lawyer friend who leased a car from a dealer that had a really poorly written contract. Depending on how a car lease is written, and maybe depending on what state you're in, the dealer either continues to hold title to the car while it's leased to you, with the contract giving you right of possession, or you hold title to the car while the dealership has a lien on the title so that ownership returns to the dealer at the end of the lease. This contract gave the dealer the lien, rather than the title, but the way it was written, the entire contract expired at the end of the lease term, including the provision that returned the title to the dealer. So essentially, the contract disappears. My friend is left with both the car and the title to the car. The dealer has no legal rights to the car. The dealership called her and asked when she would be returning the car. She says, "I'm not." They said, "Oh, you're buying the car?" She says, "No, I'm just gonna keep it. Thanks." The dealer sued her. Then once they looked closer they realized they fricked up the contract and offered to settle. Since she wasn't completely confident that a judge wouldn't just find a way to justify giving the car back to the dealer, she settled, but the settlement ended up being her buying the car for like 20% of its value. Free internet access during the early days of the internet. AOL, if you signed up for that free month, called to cancel, they would give you a free month or two. Cancel at the end of that period, then sign back up with a different checking or savings account. Same process. By that time the original account would fall off their list of known accounts, so you could go back to that one. I got 2 years of free internet that way, and got my mom permabanned from AOL. Not sure if this counts, but here it goes. When I was at university, I really wanted to keep up my musical hobbies as I wasn't doing a music related degree. The music department would occasionally grant applications to non-music students to use their facilities, so I applied to see if I could get access to their pianos. I was classically trained and qualified, so I didn't think it would be an issue. Sadly, they rejected my application on the basis that their rooms were always in use, fully booked, and they had to give priority to their music major. As time went on and my studies got more intense, I felt pretty bummed out that I couldn't just chill out and play piano sometimes. One day, I had a class on the other side of the campus. As I was leaving the building, I could hear a piano in the distance. I walked towards where the sound was coming from until I found myself at the front of the music room building. It was literally a block of floors, each floor with half a dozen rooms, each one with a piano. As I walking towards it, someone held the front door open for me, which required a key pass that only music majors had access to, as they must have thought I was heading in to practice. I went along with it and walked straight in. I surveyed the entire building to find that almost none of the rooms were being used. I therefore not only had access to the music rooms but a whole choice of pianos as well. As you can imagine, I felt pretty sick that I had been lied to about the availability of the music rooms. They clearly just lied. So, as someone who was paying ridiculous fees for my education and as a student who should supposedly have access to everything that his university has to offer, I started taking advantage of this situation. Every day, I would wait outside the music building, waiting for someone to innocently walk out while I pretended to walk in. On certain days, no one would come out for a long time. At this point, I would knock on the windows of the ground floor music rooms and say I forgot my key pass. Do you mind opening the door for me? They would always very kindly open up and never bothered to question if I really was a music student. As this went on, people got to know me. The fact that I could also play piano made it less suspicious that I was just some nobody up to no good. Eventually, it got to the point where the tables would turn. It turns out that students did indeed forget their key passes, and on several occasions I got knocks on the window while I was playing piano. In other words, music students were asking a non-music student for access to their pianos. This went on until the day I graduated. You can imagine the shock on the faces of the friends I made from the music department on graduation day when they saw me receive a degree in a completely different subject. TLDR. I took advantage of strangers' good faith to break into another department building at university so that I could get access to pianos. I'm not sure if they do this anymore, but many years ago, while an employee at Home Goods, the store had this promotion where employees could get these scratch-off cards that reduced the cost of an item by the 1st of May $2020 each time they found a price sticker on the floor. Each card had 3 scratch-off areas, and the catch was that you could only scratch off one. However, if you used a lamp, you could see which scratch-off area was the 1st of May 2020, meaning that you could very easily rack up a $20 gift card for every sticker you found on the floor. The idea was that if employees collected these fallen stickers, regular, nefarious shoppers couldn't stick them on something of far greater value and check out at that price. There were no rules on how many an employee could have or combine, because most folks who worked at that store were middle-aged women who really couldn't give a frick, and most of the stuff Home Goods sells is garbage. But then there was me, a starving, broke college kid who got paid crap, but who worked in the back room unloading trucks, and who also was occasionally tasked with stocking shelves. In short, I was the only person who seemed to give a crap about this promotion, and my bosses, who wanted to show their higher-ups that they were putting the corporate programs into effect, were happy to oblige each sticker I presented with a scratch-off ticket of my own. Now Home Goods, while normally a purveyor of fine garbage, also occasionally has very nice, very high-end housewares on the cheap. Comparatively, these items, like cookware, linens, comforters, etc., are more often than not usually much more expensive than the rest of the store's stock and take a while to sell. For me, the guy who unloaded the trucks, this meant that when I saw something absurdly nice, I could put it very high up into a loading bay and just let it sit for a while, because the senior citizens I worked with would never go up to get it. At the end of a 4-month summer, I'd amassed about 1,100 in these little gift cards, and with them I bought a full set of all-clad copper core cookware. A new piece came in once a month, a queen-size down comforter, duvet cover and sheets, pillows, nice flatware, plates and glasses, a dozen useful kitchen tools. To this day, 10 years later, I still have all the all-clad, which alone retail for $800, and some of the kitchen tools, all of it for free. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.